Pause them up here. A little pause action. A little pitter patter pause.
Live on YouTube. Everything's paused.
Ready to go, sir.
All right. All right. Before we get into Deadpool and Wolverine, let's talk about a little bit of this RDJ returning as not Iron Man, but Doctor Doom. Crazy. Me and Lub had put our thoughts out for San Diego Comic-Con. We did an episode on that. Dave wasn't with us because he was hanging out with family. Could you imagine? So we want to hear Dave's thoughts, and we got some extra stuff. So what do you think about it, Dave?
Yeah, that was wild. So obviously, I knew I was gonna miss San Diego Comic Con. I knew that was happening. I accepted that. I said, "You guys, you do the reporting, and I'll catch up on it later." And then I was out with family, and I got the text from Lub with the photo of him on stage, and I thought it was like, I don't know, it didn't even seem real at first. It just seemed so out of nowhere where I was just like, what? So initially it's insanely exciting. The reveal is super cool, the way they did that with his presence coming out on stage, taking the mask off, putting the classic Tony Stark arm stance, kind of. He could have probably struck a different pose, but super exciting. And the more time passed, the more I thought about it, and the more I'm like, I mean, it's awesome regardless. We have RDJ back. That's super cool. It's just I can't help but get past the fact that I think I would have rather just had a Victor Von Doom, an original character cast. Obviously, I want Cillian Murphy, but if we can't have him, somebody else. But I still kind of feel like I lean that way. Like I really want Doctor Doom is such an incredible character, and I would hate for him to just be a temporary variant character or something like that. So that's my one concern. And my other concern is how they're going to do it, which you guys talked about on the episode, but I'm with you. I just don't. How are they going to explain how either if he's Victor Von Doom, why does he look exactly like Tony Stark variant? And if he is Tony Stark, that kind of sucks because I want a Victor Von Doom. And JD, you made the great points about his relationship with Reed Richards, and I don't see how you play on that with this. So I have my concerns. I will say that. But Doctor Doom being the main lead for the Avengers is just freaking awesome. Like, that's just pure excitement. And even more exciting is the Russos are back for 2 Avengers movies. Like that I'm more excited about than RDJ probably too, just because there's less questions there. That's just pure awesomeness. So we'll see how it works out. I have no idea what they're going to do, but I agree with what we've been talking about, what we need to see, and that's an opening scene of Doctor Doom showing up and just taking out the Council of Kings, whether it's a post-credit scene before it leads into Avengers Doomsday, or the intro scene before the main title card or something for that movie. I don't know. Something like that, though, would be pretty cool to see and kind of wipe that slate of Kang clean, but it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, and Fantastic Four is shooting like this week, so you wonder if they had to get that news out there just in case it was gonna leak while they're shooting for Fantastic Four. I don't think he's gonna play a big role in Fantastic Four at all, but at least a post-credit scene. But you got to wonder if he's going to be in there, because he should. He's Doctor Doom. He totally belongs in a Fantastic Four movie. And if you're going to introduce him anywhere, that's the movie you're going to introduce him in, you'd think, before Avengers anyway.
Right. So that would be pretty wild if we get Galactus and Doom, even if it's a tiny amount of Doom at the end or something. That would be a pretty crazy intro movie for Fantastic Four, bringing both those characters in.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, and you got the mask, so but I don't see RDJ like wearing a mask. Like, high profile actors don't usually like to wear masks for more than like 90%. Pedro Pascal didn't want to wear it for that much. But yeah, dude, I don't get it. I heard one thing that it's like, all right, what if this variant was like his family didn't immigrate to America? Like, I didn't really consider Tony Stark's family as, from another nation or anything. But instead of coming to America, they stayed over in Europe, kept their name. He's Victor instead of Tony Stark. It's just so strange. I totally agree, man. You need a new actor, an original actor. Cillian Murphy would have been perfect, but yeah, I just can't. I have trouble not trusting the Russo brothers.
Right.
They signed on to this. I imagine they knew about this long before Comic-Con, and they got something planned.
Right. And there are those comic book runs where Iron Man does become Doctor Doom, or he is a certain character like that, like the infamous Iron Man and things like that.
Yeah, totally flipped. Yeah, Victor Von Doom just picks up the Tony Stark armor and starts acting like a hero. But yeah, and then there was a one what if issue, or a single issue of Iron Man becoming Doctor Doom. I haven't read it, but
Oh, yeah, I've heard some cool theories already. Like some people saying, what if it's the same Tony Stark, and somehow we get to where he fights Thanos, but he gets his hands on the cloak of levitation. What was the other thing? They said some other type of thing, the Eye of Agamotto and something else. And although he's like a genius, he's not prepared to deal with like the mystic arts and stuff. And what if that like corrupts him eventually, and he does end up wiping out Thanos, and we kind of get that dope little parallel to the scene from Secret Wars where Doctor Doom erases Thanos' entire body, just rips his spine out. But so there's been, and that wasn't the full theory. It sounded better, the entire thing. I'm missing some, but there's been some cool theories definitely coming out. His OG Iron Man mask, instead of that being the thing he comes out of the cave in, he's got the Doctor Doom mask. There's been some, cool little things, but I don't know. Yeah, a lot of questions.
I also heard one where he's not Emperor God Doom. He's only going to be this Doctor Doom in Doomsday, and there is someone else portraying Doctor Doom in Secret Wars.
Didn't they say he was in Secret Wars?
No, they didn't say that.
They didn't say that?
Oh, I thought they did.
So you think it's possible they could just be playing a variant temporarily?
Oh yeah, did the stuff come out afterwards about him being in 2 movies?
I thought they
Maybe.
said he was in both.
I thought they did too. Yeah, they're reporting him being the villain in Secret Wars.
Okay. Interesting.
So interesting. Like, what about when he runs across Pepper Potts and everyone else, when any of the Avengers see his
Spider-Man.
face?
What's
It's going to be a big hit.
gonna say?
Spider-Man, dude. That's heartbreaking because he just lost his father figure, and then he's going to be like, hey, Tony, good to see you.
Who's
Dead.
Tony? Just dead. Yeah, that's another aspect. I know we're not getting out of the multiverse yet because we have Secret Wars coming. I get that, but part of me is like, okay, Deadpool and Wolverine was kind of supposed to reset things, or at least put things onto a more clear track. And then as soon as it comes out, the next big news is we have another crazy variant villain who will be coming. So it's just like there's that aspect of it too, where I just want a dope Doctor Doom who's here for good. But maybe that's RDJ.
And that's the thing. He's gonna play a great villain. It's just why are you identical to Tony Stark? It's just kind of like nagging at you. I can't wait for the explanation and like for them to show us really what's going on.
Well, they must have a story though. They must have a plan. Like I really hope they do. And the hero of the first 3 phases being the villain of the next 3 could be poetic in a way to the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it has potential to be like a groundbreaking achievement. It's just also got potential to be, not. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not negative on it. I have my questions.
Yeah. All right. Fuck the intro. I clicked it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious. Here with me are Caleb and David, and we're here to discuss Deadpool and Wolverine in our full spoiler review. We already have a non-spoiler out there. So yeah, we're going to dive into all of that. If you haven't seen it yet, you might not want to watch it because we're going to get into every single little detail, cameos, everything. So yeah, before that, go ahead and follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Why So Sidious Pod. And check out our San Diego Comic-Con coverage. Our latest House of the Dragon episode will have to be recorded a little later, but that'll come out hopefully the end of this week, the penultimate episode. We also got comic book reviews out, Killing Joke, JLA Avengers, and some other stuff. Go ahead and check that out. And yeah, let's just get into it. So let's start with your overall thoughts. David, we're happy to have you back. What did you think of this movie? Give me all your spoilers.
Well, overall thoughts, yeah. So I won't worry about spoilers. Obviously, we'll get into stuff. But coming into this, my biggest concern was that this Deadpool movie would have a Disney kind of watered down feel to it. I was really worried about that. I didn't know if it was going to be changed under Disney, and I can say confidently that was not the case. I've seen people saying this isn't Deadpool. That baffles me because this 100% felt like Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool. So it had somewhat of a flimsy plot. Disappointing Wolverine backstory, but solid stuff there too. A bit too much. I don't know. The humor was fine. It was a lot, but it was, like we've said before, it was probably the overall funniest of the three movies. But bro, great cameos with surprising still, like Wesley Snipes and Channing Tatum were still big surprises. Chris Evans' spot was a surprise in a way too. Awesome action sequences. Cassandra Nova did her job at least. And so it wasn't quite the masterpiece some people hoped for. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but I think it was exactly what it needed to be, which is a fun, entertaining, just comic book movie, a rated R comic book movie. I think it nailed what it needed to. So I can say confidently that I had the most fun watching this of any MCU movie since Endgame, maybe No Way Home, but I just had a blast. So pure entertainment filled with a bunch of nerd rewards, which I love too. So I'd probably, I don't know, was I supposed to drop my rating too?
Yeah, what's your rating?
All right. I got it at an 8.5 right now. I had it at an 8.1 coming straight out of the theater. I thought about it more. I gave it more of a score, but I still got to go see it a second time. So, and I'm looking forward to that. But, dude, it was solid. I had a blast.
Hell yeah. Love.
Yeah, I agree with what Dave said. It was a great theater experience. I laughed my ass off. It was very funny, maybe too funny. Loved the action. It was still brutal and well choreographed. A lot of the Wolverine and Deadpool fights were so cool to watch. All the slicing and dicing they were doing to each other. Yeah, the plot was lacking a bit. It didn't really move things forward and reset anything. And I think maybe it would have been better just staying outside the MCU, honestly. Because I feel like this whole TVA thing is a little confusing. I'll talk about it more later. But it could have just been outside of the MCU with these Fox characters. I think it might have honestly it's been better on its own. But it was a great love letter to the Fox universe. I'm glad all those characters got a little swan song. So I do have it rated at an 8.6.
Ooh. What do you want to one-up me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it twice?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, everything you guys said. I mean, the violence was satisfying. The action, I think, was the best of the Deadpool movies. It was the funniest Deadpool movie. The cameos were excellent. Just so entertaining from start to finish. It didn't have a slow moment. I expected Wolverine's backstory to follow the Old Man Logan backstory where he killed all the X-Men. He was personally responsible for all their deaths, and the person who was brainwashing him. So that was lackluster, just the fact that he didn't take the phone call and go save them. I don't know why he has so much guilt over that. I could see the guilt part, but with all that guilt, it seemed like he freaking killed them all, like he did in the comics.
Right.
Cassandra was awesome. She's not as important. We didn't get as much of her. I thought they were going to play something into the genocide that she did in the comics too. So a bunch of comic stuff I kind of expected, but that's always happening when I'm watching these movies. So I got to stop thinking things from the comics are going to just translate over. But yeah, dude, I have it around a 9. It was the best Deadpool movie for me. I think Deadpool 1's the best technical movie, but this one, purely off of superficial satisfaction, you got Wolverine, Blade, Elektra, X-23, and just nonstop laughing and violence. I kind of wanted to see more raging Wolverine towards someone who deserves to get their ass whipped, because he really just fought Deadpool and then a bunch of variants of Deadpool. Yeah. So I wanted to see, it was like the best Wolverine action, but I did want to see that pointed in a direction of, some bad people, and that way. The fight with his brother ended pretty quickly, the way they built that up, especially the trailer. I thought that was going to be a savage, like, just one-on-one blood fest. But it was actually kind of cool that he just slices his head off and goes for it. But around a 9. But let's move on. But it's all so good. But let's do a little negative stuff first. Let's get the gripes out of the way. I already said the Logan backstory. And my other big one is it didn't play into the MCU. It didn't give us a clear view of the MCU at all. I totally agree with Lub that it was way more of an X-Men movie than an MCU movie. I mean, yeah, he saw Happy. He asked to be an Avenger. Another gripe. How did he just go to the 616 and then end up back in his universe? That was confusing. Like, okay, so you could just hop universes now? Was that just like a gag?
Or was because the Avengers aren't in his universe, right?
Right.
Are they, though?
And they said 616. That scene said 616 on it, so
Maybe
that was really
as
strange.
he had the watch from
possibly.
Cable still, because that was back in 2018.
But that's time traveling.
And then
That's
he was
not universe.
and he was time traveling to
yeah,
save
that's
his
true. You're
people
right.
for the most part, or I thought
You're
so.
right.
But then, what are you just gonna say? Fuck all your family and just stay in the 616? Like, are you gonna bring them there? So none of that made sense. So that was your big MCU thing. Of course, the TVA from Loki. That's all MCU in a sense. But yeah, I mean that's all my gripes there.
No, but that really doesn't make sense. Because yeah, in Deadpool 2, it was a time thing. It wasn't a dimensions, a universal thing. It was literally just a time machine. And yeah, so he's talking to Happy. He's watching the 616, the highlights from the MCU movies, and he's talking about how he wants to meet Cap and all this. But in the last two movies, he's in the Fox universe. At the start of this movie, he's in the Fox universe at his birthday with his friends. So I'm super confused at how that plays in. But then, he says to Logan later that the Avengers wouldn't take him, the X-Men wouldn't take him. So he's in a universe. I don't know. They really just did not clear that up at all. And yeah, they hyped this up saying it was going to fix the MCU or like clarify where we're going forward and all this stuff. And the only tie-ins to the MCU was the TVA, which even that barely was an MCU tie-in other than the fact that they exist there too. And Happy, which again doesn't make sense. So none of and I don't know how's he going to get into the 616 now going forward. I don't know. I don't get it at all. It didn't feel like it really had any type of connection to the MCU there. So that is definitely one of my gripes too. I just don't see why they marketed it as that.
Yeah, dude, they should keep the TVA strictly to Loki. Like putting it in these other, movies and shows just kind of gets things confusing. Just keep the TVA and Loki, and we'll just kind of work around what's going on there. Because every time I looked at Dave and I was like, "Do you think this is after Loki season 2? Like, they're pruning timelines and talking about timelines don't work anymore." But I thought Loki fixed everything, and there's this multiverse going on where everyone can exist. So that was a little weird.
Yeah, I expected at least because we didn't even get none of the cameos were MCU. Not a single MCU cameo besides Happy. I mean,
Yeah.
but that scene now it really feels like it was just shoved in there to say, oh, it kind of plays into the 616.
Yeah.
And I also expected. For some reason I thought Storm was for sure going to show up. I expected more like X-Men cameos. We didn't really get. I mean, there was Elektra, Fantastic Four, Blade, X-23. I totally, for some reason, thought Storm was in there, and I expected more X-Men, and I expected MCU characters, like at least one familiar MCU thing, and I really expected by the end of that, them in the 616. Like, here they are. This is the 616.
Yeah.
But none of that. None of
At
that.
least Deadpool.
Yeah. I wouldn't say Wolverine, because I don't think Hugh Jackman's going to stick around for any MCU Wolverine stuff.
Yeah, maybe in Secret Wars, but
I think
yeah,
Secret Wars is a good call, yeah.
It just wasn't very clear. You got more gripes? I got gripes too, but I'll let you keep on rattling yours off if you want.
Oh, I got one, yeah. Paradox, I wasn't a big fan of his character. He was kind of funny at times, and then like Pyro being like linked with him and like double crossing Nova at the end was weird. I feel like they kind of threw that in there. So I wasn't the biggest fan of Paradox, and I don't know how I feel about anchor beings. How do you guys feel about anchor beings? Is that something they've said before? No, right?
Not in the comics. No. And it's too much weight on a character's shoulders. What if he gets killed in the street somewhere? People die all the time. Your universe is just done.
And who's 616's anchor being? Is it Tony Stark?
Wanda.
They
Tony's
say Spider-Man
dead, so
might be. Yeah. Maybe it's Spider-Man.
It ain't Tony.
That's true. I mean, I thought it would be, but no.
No, we find out.
My guess is Wanda, which is why she survived Multiverse of Madness and all that, because she's kind of like an all-powerful being. But I don't know. First we've heard of it.
That's so strange. Any more gripes for you guys?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again, it wasn't perfect. I had my issues, but they weren't big issues. They were all pretty small. But I gotta say, CGI. So CGI stuck out to me. I can save one of the aspects for when we talk about something else. But one of the things was, some looked amazing, but like, for example, that bus scene with Deadpool and Wolverine fighting the groups of Deadpools. When they got on the bus and it was the side angle of them like moving through the bus and cutting people up, it looked like a video game. Like, it looked really bad. Like, the bus windows and everything looked like they were LED screens. So there's a couple rough points with the CGI. Again, I'll hold on to the main one later. And then I gotta say, a lot of people had gripes with the healing factor thing in this. Because, I would have preferred to see some more scenes like where Deadpool gets his hand cut off and he's got to fight with only one hand, or something happens here, or they like kind of have to adapt and be more creative with the wounds. But obviously they were just leaning into the fact that they have instant healing in this movie. Like, it was just whatever, let them stab the hell out of each other and just keep rolling. So I personally, I thought it was fun. I didn't have a problem with it, but I did see a lot of people being like, healing factors were instant, and they haven't been like that in the past. It's been, at least it takes us a little bit of time for some stuff. So I saw the inconsistency, but again, it's just a fun movie, so I don't really think you should lean into that. Yeah, I guess actually I'll save my main gripe for another category. I guess those are my main ones, though.
All right, cool. You got the bad out of the way. All right, let's jump to the cameos. So, Lub, what do you think your favorite, what was the biggest pop cameo, your biggest oh shit moment as far as cameos?
I think it's got to be Chris Evans,
That was
because the way they
crazy.
introduced him, and even Deadpool thinks it's Cap. He's like, oh shit! Like
He's gonna
I think
say it.
He's gonna say it. I mean, I can do this all day. Is that what he thought he was gonna say?
No,
gonna say
he goes,
Avengers.
Avengers assemble,
Yeah, that's right.
flame on. What the shit?
Yeah. Yeah. So how they did that was awesome.
Oh, I guess that was another gripe. I would have preferred him to whoop some ass before he got shut down. Such a big pop, and then he just gets, killed by some
Annihilated.
B-list mutant. So that kind of sucked.
Johnny Storm?
Yeah.
He got killed by Cassandra.
No, not killed,
Oh.
but he just got shut down with his flames like
Oh, because
immediately.
Pyro absorbs fire. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of the one guy he can't really fight against, because that's literally his power, is he absorbs it instead of creates it.
Yeah.
But dude, his death scene was hilarious. He
was
tells
awesome.
Cassandra all that, and she just evaporates him there. He goes, "Not my favorite Chris." And Logan's like, "You stupid piece of shit! You just got him killed." He goes, "Hey, we're all grieving. Plus, do you know what he was doing to the budget?" Like, dude, it was such a perfect way to kill him off. Like, and in the post-credit scene at the end where you find out he was actually saying all that stuff about Cassandra, which it wasn't a great post-credit. But did you ever think that we would see Chris Evans dropping F-bombs and all the other vile stuff he said in that scene in an MCU movie? Like,
Right.
that was fun in itself.
What was the biggest pop for you, Dave, as far as cameos?
Ooh, it would have been X-23 if they didn't reveal it 4 days before releasing the freaking movie. That would have been sick if we didn't know and she
Yeah.
walked out in the end there. Like, that was a bummer. So I guess I'll go with the biggest surprise being Blade. I did not think he was going to be in this, and his walkout was dope. The score that's playing as they all walk out slow motion, I thought it was perfect. It landed for me. It was sick. And why I didn't think it happened is because Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes had beef. They were both in Blade Trinity, which was Wesley Snipes' third movie in his trilogy, and they did not get along. They were not cool with each other. So it was really cool to not only see them together again, but seeing Wesley come into Ryan's third movie of his trilogy. Like, it kind of worked out that way. And again, just that scene, like, I'm surprised to see you here. I thought you were retired.
Yeah.
Retarded? No, retired. I laughed so hard at that scene. So Blade's probably my biggest surprise. Yeah, that was dope.
It's like 22 Jump Street. He was talking about that being retarded. No, it is retarded or artistic. No, it is autistic. It is autistic, sir. Funny. Blade was probably my most surprised moment. That was really badass because we also kind of heard Johnny Storm was showing up. I think that came out a little bit.
Yeah.
Not
There were
Blade
some
though.
leaks.
I didn't hear anything about Blade, so that was the most surprising. Like, oh shit! But the way they played into that Johnny Storm, that made it such a big pop. Just that that switch there, they really tricked the whole freaking movie theater, right?
Right.
Yeah. That was a cool way to do that.
And then I liked all the other ones. I would have preferred like more screen time for each of them killing off the villains because it was kind of just a big, big old orgy. They're all killing a bunch of people. A couple of them got a couple scenes, but like for example, I wanted to see Elektra slicing some people. I wanted to see her slashing blood. X-23 too, Blade especially. Like show that man kill 3, 4, 5 people in like a badass scene. Give them all a really really cool moment. So they were there. They all had a little bit, and that was cool. And then the happy.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say the happy. It doesn't make sense at all, but that was pretty awesome just to see him talking to Happy.
Yeah. Did we see Blade actually kill anybody?
Yeah, in that
I'm
fight.
starting to-
Everyone
we
got
did.
their own little 5 seconds.
Okay. Okay.
Didn't he kill the Azrael or whatever that guy is, the red transporter?
Oh, I think he Azazel. I think he did.
Azazel. That was
Okay.
sick.
Which that was a cool little cameo from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a weird group that was like, again, we talked about it, how I almost kind of like this cameo grouping more than the Illuminati's appearance, which I don't know now. But I think I did. I think it was just more fun. But it was so random. I mean, Elektra, Blade, Gambit, and X-23. And so real quick about Gambit. I mean, so Channing Tatum was supposed to do a solo movie as Gambit. Never came to fruition. So they kind of gave him this. He did a decent job.
The accent?
Half the time his accent
Who's
wasn't
your
bad.
dialect coach?
And the other half, it was god awful to the point they just leaned into it. Like it was just funny how they leaned into it. He really, because he hit it a couple of lines and then a couple other lines. I was like, oh god, that was horrible.
And they're like,
So-
just leave it in. Just leave it in. It's perfect.
yeah. You look like a superhero version of Hawkeye. It was cool. The VFX for Gambit was cool. It was cool to see. I know we got him in live action, X-Men Origins Wolverine by Taylor Kitsch. But it was cool. It was cool seeing Channing be him, but I don't think I want to see him continue the role in the MCU with that accent.
I'd rather Taylor Kish. He was sick.
Yeah, he did better.
Big fan after Friday Night Lights too. He's
There you
solid.
Yeah.
JD, did you like
True
that,
Detective season 2, not so much.
Did you like that Hulk tease we got for a second?
Oh, that was awesome, dude. I was so happy to see the Hulk. I mean, I don't care if it was
Bro.
3 seconds. And like Wolverine was wearing the suit that he was wearing and the super recent Wolverine run where he's fighting the Hulk. And it's an older Wolverine thing with Claremont too, but that was so fun seeing Deadpool get smacked by the Hulk.
Dude, he does the Loki thing. I am Marvel Jesus, you dull creature, you. It just hits him into the tree branch. But no, that was sick. We got the brown and tan suit, which I've always loved that suit of Wolverine's.
Looks great.
And although I think they did a great job with the blue and yellow suit that killed it, I would have really liked to have seen more of the Wolverine full brown and tan outfit with the helmet. If you've seen the Wolverine, there's a deleted scene where his little Japanese companion hands him a suitcase at the end as they're flying home, and he goes, "What is this?" And she opens it up, and we see the brown and tan helmet for Wolverine and the gloves and the suitcase, and it looks dope. Like, it looks awesome. So I would have loved to get to see that too. A little greedy, but dude, that was perfect. The claws, because isn't that the cover of that issue? Is Hulk's reflection in Wolverine's claws or something like that? Like, that's like a little famous shot there. Logan variants were awesome. What was your guys' favorite ones?
The Logan variants?
Yeah, the different Wolverines we got out
Oh,
I
I gotta say that one. The suit is so clean, dude. But they had Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. They had him on the
Was that-
cross.
there. Was that Age of Apocalypse with him on the cross, or
Age of
was that the one
Apocalypse-
with the cutoff?
In the alley. It was one in
Yeah.
the alley, long
Looks
hair.
like he's in the 80s. Yeah.
I think I'm almost positive.
Okay.
The one on the cross, I think is from. I want to say that's from Days of Future Past. Like, it's a cover. Don't quote me on that either. But we also know that the Days of Future Past shot of him walking by all these tombs, that's straight out of Days of Future Past, the comic. And another reason why you kind of thought, we saw it in the trailer, you kind of thought he's super guilty about all these deaths because he killed them all, which we know didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? The Henry
But-
Cavill one was awesome.
Thank you.
He looked
That's what I was gonna say.
amazing.
I was waiting.
Amazing. Dude.
That was probably my
Dude,
second biggest part.
hire that man.
Okay.
Bring him to the MCU.
Yeah, I don't
You know?
care about the height thing because we obviously the comic accurate Wolverine was hilarious, but like obviously Henry Cavill is the opposite as far as body goes of Wolverine. He's like 6'5". That guy's an absolute unit, but he looked amazing and he sounded amazing when he said "you were just leaving." It sounded like the animated Wolverine. Like, it sounded so good that I was like, oh. I think I'm here for it. I think I'm here for Henry Cavill as Wolverine. Like, let's make it. And what did Deadpool say? Come on over. We'll treat you so much better than those shitbags down the street or something.
Yes, so awesome. Which is so true too.
Cool.
He gave that like gritty attitude way better than I thought he would. Because I wasn't a fan. I didn't like, dude, don't put Henry Cavill as Wolverine. That one scene kind of sold me. He looked like that pissed off, genuinely. He looked very Wolverine, and he's stocky at least, and Hollywood could take a few inches off, no problem.
Dude, I will. Oh, my brain just broke right when I was about to say something about that. Tell me, you guys noticed the Mission Impossible little nod there? He did the fist reloads like he does in Fallout, where he's in the bathroom scene and he like reloads his fists and keeps beating up. He did that, but he did that with his claws popping out. Like it was a little touch that he kind of blew up about his little reloading his fists. So I thought it was hella funny they threw that in there.
Yeah.
We got some chat. Greg in the chat. Age of Apocalypse's hand cut off in wild hair variant. Oh, that's from Age of Apocalypse, the wild hair, yeah. And he said Reavers put him on a cross. Reavers were in the Logan movie. Oh, well, and he called out the guncock thing. I got you, Greg. I got you. We're on the same page there, the Mission Impossible guncock. But I did look it up. That cross scene is Uncanny X-Men.
Not Days of Future Past.
No, that one's not. That is Uncanny X-Men Volume 1, 251. Hanging from a wooden X outside. Donald Pierce put him up on it.
Gotcha.
But I could tell from that scene that was out of a comic. Like the red bloody skulls everywhere. Like that looked very comic book like.
Yeah.
So Blake Lively was Lady Deadpool. Did they confirm that?
Yeah.
Yeah. She put out a post.
So Matthew McConaughey. Did you guys hear that?
Cowboy.
He was the cowboy.
Deadpool? That's hilarious.
Yeah. And I think Ryan and Blake's kid was Kid Deadpool or Kid Pool.
Nepo baby.
Nepo baby. What did Nice Deadpool say? She like starts talking trash and goes, "Oh, you gotta look out for her. She's the nastiest one," or something.
What do you guys think
Nice
of...
Pool?
Yeah,
bro. I loved Nice Pool. Nice Pool was just an absolute blast. He was hilarious. The whole how he doesn't wear a mask. I mean,
Why would I?
come on. But the best part was his death scene, bro. That was the hardest I laughed in the movie. That was one of those things where I kept laughing as the theater had obviously stopped as a whole laughing. And I couldn't stop. It was one of those uncontrollable laughter thing because he gets lit up by the Uzi. He's using him as a human shield. And he's just smiling as he's getting rocked back and forth, all to find out he doesn't even heal. So he was just getting killed while smiling through that whole thing. Head gets exploded. I forgot how it happens. But, dude, I was laughing so hard at that scene. It was gold.
He's like, hold on, I gotta take a break for a second, rest my legs or something. He's just getting nailed.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I think I'm hit. He's just bleeding out of everywhere. Oh, it worked for me. Nice Pool absolutely worked.
Oh, here's a random one for you. I want to rewind to close to the beginning of the movie. Do you think that Thor and Deadpool scene has a chance to happen in Secret Wars? Like something tying back to that?
Oh.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get that scene somewhere.
I kind of think we are.
As a joke, I could see it being thrown in there, but I just don't get how Thor would be so attached to like be grieving him in that way. It looked like it was pulled out of Dark World, and instead of Loki, it was just Deadpool laying in Thor's arms. I thought that was the same scene. So I don't know, but I see a lot of people talking about that they expect that to pop up. So we'll see. I thought it was kind of just a funny throwaway joke.
I could see him toning down the drama of it, but Deadpool doing something in Secret Wars and at least having Thor come up and say, like, hey, that a boy or something.
Straight up. Yeah. We'll see. So
I did that cameo odds a while back.
Yeah. How'd we do with that?
We did all right. I don't know exactly what you guys took. We did Owen Wilson was the top one, and I'm surprised we didn't see Owen Wilson at all during the TVA scenes.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Paradox didn't really need to exist, and he didn't need to be like doing his own thing. Even like killing off Cassandra didn't matter. They just let her live, and they moved on. I mean, that was very like that. The reason she ended up helping them was because she was shot, and then they saved her life. Yeah, I think Owen Wilson would have just made that so much better because you didn't need him having his own little schemes. You could have easily played the same movie with Owen Wilson doing his thing as whatever. But
Right. Then we had Chris Evans as Human Torch. That was the second one. So we
So
nailed
you
that
didn't
one.
take our bets down, huh? Unbelievable. I put like $300 on these
know,
things,
right?
and you weren't even tracking them.
yeah, like virtual money, non-existent money.
Tyler Mane, Sabretooth. I think we all took that one. We all took the earlier bets for sure.
Yeah.
Patrick
Okay.
Stewart, Ian McKellen. Didn't get that.
I was
Colin-
bummed. I was bummed. No Professor X.
Right.
Yeah, we got Cassandra rolling out in his wheelchair for her intro, but that was it.
Right.
No Chuck.
No Chuck.
Colin Farrell as Bullseye. That would have been a good one. Didn't get that.
We had Bullseye on there?
Yeah, on the cameo list. Yeah.
That was one of the fake cameos they said that was going to happen.
Oh,
They kind of
really?
leaked Bullseye was going to be in there as one of those red herrings.
James Marsden, Cyclops. Ben Affleck, Daredevil. That would have been funny.
He kind of got mentioned by Elektra, which was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Because she mentioned Daredevil died, but she really didn't care. And Ben Affleck and her met on the Daredevil movie, got married, and then had a messy divorce. So it was hilarious that she was just like, yeah, he died, whatever.
And next, that I think it was plus 1,000, and you guys did not take this bet, and that was Wesley? Snipes. Who ended up? We were like, you guys were like, no way.
Shame.
I was like,
Let's check the
Shame.
tape. Let's check the tape. What episode was that?
What episode was
I
that?
feel like I might have put $5 on that one.
did you? I don't know.
I don't remember what episode that was. I have to go back if I ever care enough to check it out. But
All right. So let's get into the characters themselves. Deadpool, Wolverine, Cassandra, we kind of talked about. How did Wolverine work for you guys? All your spoilery details.
he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. I'm gonna talk about the good, and then I know my little complaint. But he was at his peak. It felt like the peak Wolverine we've always wanted, where no holds barred. We're just seeing all the absolute gruesome details of it. But you did make a good point earlier, which I didn't take into account. Like 90% of the people he killed had healing factors that didn't end up staying dead or that he attacked throughout the movie. So that is kind of a bummer. But I still think that mini fight scene alone with him and Deadpool was one of the coolest sequences I've seen of Wolverine, because he just came across so absolutely powerful and scary. And that scene was just pure entertainment. I mean, the VFX and choreography and the use of the minivan as a fighting environment, it might have been one of my favorite parts of the movie. But every action scene he had was awesome. Their face-off in the void, where he does the little Wolverine like animal run, that was sick. That was such a cool start to the whole thing. So I had nothing but love for his appearance here, except for a couple things. And one was his backstory, which JD already mentioned, but super weak. I really thought we were going to get more detail there. And just the fact that he was drinking and they died, that was not, I feel like it could have been pretty easy to give a better story as to why he let down his whole world and he was the worst Wolverine. That just seemed, because again, we know Wolverines who slaughtered the entire X-Men, so I don't think he's the worst Wolverine variant. They just didn't do a good job at showing why he's the worst. Mm-hmm. The mask. So I spoke about this on our instant reaction. You rightfully edited out. It was confirmed, but not everybody was aware of that, and so I wouldn't want to spoil that for anybody and then know, because it'd be pretty sick to see that if you didn't know it was coming when he pulls the mask on during that walkout to Madonna, which was a super epic sequence. But the mask looked great about half the time. Side profiles, it looked really good. Like, there were a few shots where it made it worth it. Like, it was just like, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then half the shots looked pretty bad, in my opinion. I thought it looked pretty goofy, obviously fake in a lot of the sequences too. So I'm glad they kept it to one scene because I just don't think they did it well enough to have it for longer than it was. I think they do. I think the wide eyes was pretty cool, and I'd like to see Batman shown in that way one day because it looks great on Deadpool, and it looked pretty good on Wolverine. But yeah, it was 50-50 for me with the mask. But he was awesome, dude. This was cool, and they killed the blue and yellow.
Dude, the mask for me was too bulky or something. It's something awkward about that mask. It hit hard. I was so happy to see him, but it was like, I don't know, I expected something maybe more skin tight, more form fitting to his face. Something about it was bulky and awkward. A small gripe because it was just so cool to see him, in the
Where'd
mask.
it come from, by the way? You just
I don't
kind of
know.
pulled it from
Right?
nowhere.
You didn't see that.
I don't care, but yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. The first fight, dude, when they start playing Hell's Bells by AC/DC, that was so sick. They built that up so sick. The choreography was badass.
It had like a James Gunn type score, where it was all just classic songs instead of instrumentals that they created for the movie.
Like the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC.
NSYNC, that was the Bye Bye Bye. It was
so funny.
They killed it though, and they always do that in the other NSYNC movies, and I think the other NSYNC movies,
yeah.
the NSYNC trilogy, hell yeah,
MCU.
the other Deadpool movies, they always have like popular songs. I mean, except Celine Dion, she obviously wrote an original song for Deadpool 2, which was fire. But I just think they killed it. I thought the NSYNC opening routine was insanely entertaining, all the way to Madonna was used perfectly too, and all the little things in between. Like, they just do a really good job at utilizing not original soundtracks for the movies. So I thought they killed it with the score there.
If you told me on paper that he was going to dance to NSYNC, I'd be like, dude, come on. But somehow he nailed it. It was so funny. It just put a smile on my face as he's just mutilating people. Some of those kills were so
adamantium.
gnarly,
Wolverine
dude.
Skeleton.
Dude. Then he throws the femur into that guy's genital area. It looks like he's like jacking it off. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it's just sliding down. Well, that was a deep cut too. I don't know if you guys remember X2, when they get attacked at the mansion and Wolverine drives off in Scott's car with the kids in the back, and Iceman's like, "I hate awkward silences," and he turns on the stereo, and it's that exact song at that exact moment. So I don't know if that was even intentional, but I was like, I've heard that thing in a Wolverine deal before.
Or the alternative, what do you call it? The Eiffel Tower, kind of. He's fucking got his hand in that one dude's going back and forth between two people. And you're talking about a Disney movie, dude. And it was like the gnarliest Deadpool movie. Props to them for letting them do whatever they wanted to do, which was a lot.
Yeah, there were some intense scenes there. There were definitely some intense scenes. Hey, before we get too far away from the TVA, sorry, real quick, we had another comment coming in from Greg there saying that he thinks if you haven't watched Loki that you kind of need to know that who the TVA is, like kind of as this, he says, Wizard of Oz type organization. And I almost kind of thought they didn't explain it enough if you didn't watch Loki. Like, maybe you would be thinking, who the hell are, the TVA, like, who are these guys? Because I didn't think they really went into that detail. I don't know if you guys felt the same, but I was thinking about that. Like, if you didn't watch Loki and you watched that, would you be wondering who the hell these people are? Did Paradox really explain it much?
Absolutely. No, I think Loki's like required reading for this movie, right? I mean, who the hell is the TVA? It's the only place they've been introduced. They explain all about them, and they're confusing enough. And Loki explains a lot of them, and they're still confusing. But yeah, you almost need to watch Loki.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Another cameo. I kind of expected to at least see Loki, at least Deadpool visiting him, make a joke while he's holding the trees, something like that. It's the TV is in there. You expect Loki. I did.
I thought he'd at least mention him. I wasn't expecting Tom to show up, but I thought Deadpool would at least throw out a line about, like, well, Loki's running this thing anyways, or something like that. But yeah. All right, sorry, sidetracked.
I got Wolverine.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
done.
I think we need to give Hugh Jackman his props. It's like riding a bike for him. I know Logan wasn't that long ago, but he's been playing this character for 25 years. Like,
So
we need
insane.
to put him in the big three needs to be the big four. So you have RDJ, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth,
Big time.
Oh, I think
and Hugh Jackman.
I think Hugh's the big one, and then they're the next three.
okay,
I think
okay.
Hugh gets top billing, bro. he's like you said, he's been doing this for 24 years, and he's been killing it with every single role. Even X-Men Origins Wolverine, bad movie, but he was still good in it. Like he was a great Wolverine in it still. So I think give him his flowers for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I wasn't a fan of his backstory, and they said that humans killed the X-Men. So I was like, humans came and just wiped out all the X-Men while he was drunk. Like, how did who were these humans? Like, did they have Sentinels with them? Like, what
Yeah, they're pretty advanced. I mean, a lot of humans have tried in like 7 different movies, and they never succeed, but they did in this one. I guess Wolverine's the deciding factor.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty weak.
And even Paradox says, like, when Wolverine's on the floor, he's like, what this guy did, some things you just can't forgive.
Yeah.
And again, I'm
He got
thinking,
drunk.
I was thinking, oh man, he definitely killed them all. That's crazy. And then,
Right.
we find out he didn't.
Yeah.
Not Wolverine's fault. Still, all of his screen time was awesome. He was the funniest Wolverine. He was the funniest, one of the funniest things of that movie. Just the comments he was making was hilarious.
Great
so yeah,
banter.
Right. Way funnier than I expected.
That monologue he gives in the minivan where he actually like rips Deadpool apart
Dude.
and he actually like silences him. Like that was pretty intense. I actually felt bad for Deadpool for a bit
yeah,
there.
he's like, we're gonna fight now.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you now. Like, no, Hugh killed it with the back and forth with Deadpool there. But dude, one thing. So they obviously said personal things about each other, outside of the movie, like about Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. But I couldn't believe, and I think I mentioned it to you during the movie, that Deadpool had a line where he basically said like, oh yeah, well you put on a bunch of weight after the divorce, or you really shed that weight that you put on after the divorce. And Hugh Jackman literally had a super messy divorce like during the filming of this movie. So like Ryan Reynolds wrote that in like while it was happening. It had to be like, I was like, oh my, wow. Okay, that seemed a little messed up, but all right.
Oh, I forgot to say. I think I mentioned it after we stopped recording the spoiler-free review about how Wolverine's backstory. It should have been him from Days of Future Past, but he failing to save the X-Men from the Sentinels, and Peter Dinklage, and the Sentinels destroy all the X-Men.
Peter shows up, just a bunch of Sentinels. It would have been cool to see like some Sentinel heads and stuff in the void. I feel like, that we saw a lot of different stuff. While JD's gone, Greg also asked, how'd they survive at the end of that with Deadpool and Wolverine? He asked, do you think that Loki was actually the one who allowed them to live? Because they were for sure they were going to die in that thingamajig. And then I know obviously it could just be their very thick and expensive plot armor. But is there a possibility Loki had any? Well, we don't know, because did this happen before or after Loki season 2?
Well,
I don't know.
To quote a very popular Star Wars show and a group of witches who knew what they were doing, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Okay, so the power of one was not enough, but the power of two gets the job done.
I thought you were going to say somehow Deadpool and Wolverine returned, but
No.
I was thinking simple math terms, the energy output was enough to kill one of them. But, not two of
like
them.
Guardians.
Which is, simple writing. Yeah, just like Guardians.
Grab the
Good
hand
callback.
and
That's
I'll
a
take it.
perfect callback, yeah.
That's why I do this for a living,
I take it back. Let's move on. Another one in that car fight scene, a couple funny ass things, like when he was like, just say one more word, I swear to God. And he's like, gubernatorial. The word he said was hilarious. Gubernatorial. And the way he screams when Wolverine pulls him back into the car, just that super high-pitched classic scream that works a lot.
Dude, I'm telling you, that scene was so fun. I think that was my favorite scene.
I felt like they did a good job of splitting the victories in the fights between the two. Like, I think Deadpool kind of got the upper hand in the first one, and that minivan fight, Wolverine kicked his ass.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, it's because he found out he lied
noticed
from the start.
He was pissed. The sequence when they start fighting in the TVA, did you notice the dodging and punching thing was almost a mirror image
Spider-Man.
of... Yeah. That's cool when you think about it. That totally was. I'm really glad he didn't punch him and then hold his fist out there for like 15 seconds.
Right. Just say,
That always
I wouldn't
bothers
want to
me.
fight me neither. Did we kind of skipped over this, but did you guys notice? So the cameo cave where all the guys came strolling out. Did you guys notice Wanda's statue was in that cave of Elektra and Gambit and X-23 and all them? The
Didn't
statue
notice.
of Wanda from Mount Wundagore was in their cave. So
Multiverse of
yeah,
Madness.
That's sick.
yeah, where she dies. So that was interesting,
They pruned that shit out of existence. Like, nope, never happened.
right? Gotta wonder.
I wanted to get way more into the Easter eggs, but it was like exhausting trying to find videos. And there weren't super significant Easter eggs, but there was some really cool ones like Thor's helmet, like a classic old helmet in the TVA. A Captain America shield, but it's like the old Iron. It's like the one Iron Patriot wears in the Young Avengers. I didn't notice Wanda's statue there. That's really cool. But yeah, the Easter eggs, after I looked into it, there wasn't a ton. There was obviously a ton of little stuff. Like the Iron Man helmet in Happy's office was that little Iron Man helmet that was worn by that kid in Iron Man 2 that was acting like he was going to blast the enemy away, and Tony lands behind him and shoots the bad guy.
Yeah,
Same helmet.
which they retconned to be Peter Parker.
Did they?
Yeah.
Is that official? That's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah.
They made it official.
Did you guys notice any big Easter eggs? I mean, there was also obviously like Ant-Man and a really funny joke there. They finally, looks like Paul Rudd's finally aged. He's just a skull. That was hilarious.
Yeah, no, I think the majority of the Easter eggs were the cameos, and then little things they threw in like to nod towards the comics. So like obviously all the Deadpool cameos, the villain cameos. I just think a lot of them were just cameos, different characters. Obviously
Yeah.
Secret Wars was on the ground. The comic was sitting there like we saw in the trailer.
Huh.
I didn't notice. Apparently there was Old Man Logan variant. There was a Logan in a
Oh, the
cowboy
one-
hat that shot Deadpool with a shotgun.
Yeah. He was,
didn't even see
He was
that.
on his porch wearing the hat,
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's straight out of Old Man Logan. That's dope.
There was.
I wish they would have done Daniel Radcliffe as Patch though. He could have been a Wolverine variant.
I thought it was Patch. Yeah, I thought that was going to be him.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a Sentinel's foot. So
There
they-
was? Oh,
there
okay.
was
So
a
they
foot.
did include a Sentinel.
There
deal.
was
Alright.
the Milano
back.
with Peter Quill and the Guardians of the Galaxy ship in the void.
Yeah, I saw that. A lot of stuff
Really?
in the void.
Doctor Strange cloak.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh,
Well,
that's
Are you going to talk about the sling?
I was
ring,
going to
too?
say, yes, I was totally expecting Wong or Doctor Strange to be in this movie as a cameo. Maybe you're one. I mean, Wong's been the connective tissue between a lot of things, so I thought that was almost a no-brainer. I was
Because we
so
saw that
excited to see
portal
him
open.
talking to Wong. Exactly. Imagine him and Wong talking would be ridiculous. Even Stephen Strange. I mean, they would not take him serious. Oh, I mean, they're rightfully so, but that'd be so funny. The banter there would be priceless.
It should have been though. If they make this big stink about this coming into the 616, who better than the new Nick Fury, aka Wong of the multiverse? Like he's the one who's tying in everything in this phase. It would have been perfect for him to be the one who brings him into the 616 or something. But yeah, Wong would have been. But that sling ring. So that sling ring had the reality and time stone in it. So that Doctor Strange, whoever got purged there, that fool must have been like. That's a pretty powerful Doctor Strange to have there. But it was, also was thinking like, why wasn't that used? But then I remember from Loki, all the Infinity Stones in the TVA do not work. Like they're just useless. So maybe in the Void they don't work either, and that's why. But it also makes me wonder why
Should use
they
them.
include that on
Oh,
Cassandra's sling ring.
She
Just used
Doctor
the
Strange
sling ring,
powers.
but not the time and reality stone, which she doesn't really need to because of her powers. But it was just interesting for them to include those Infinity Stones on a sling ring.
Yeah, that's weird. So do you guys want to talk any more about Cassandra? Because, like, I'll dive into the comic background here. One of my theories was she might have purged 16 million mutants into the void, or something like that instead of... they didn't play onto any of her genocidal stuff. She was way less significant than I thought. I thought she was going to be the answer to a lot of the MCU mutants in one way or another. But nothing. Now, she was very menacing, right? She was scary, and she was also funny. She said some funny things. She said something about flicking her bean to killing them if they let her have the helmet. If they take that helmet off, she's gonna flick the bean.
Such a
to just,
Deadpool type of villain. Like,
yes. The way she was talking to Wolverine, acting like she was gonna have his back there. She played a really, really good villain. I really want to see more of her. I don't think we are, but that's all I got on her. And the ending didn't make much sense. I didn't understand what the hell she was up to with
same.
destroying all the multiverses or whatever. Great, like her screen time was awesome, just wasn't as significant as I expected.
Yeah, she wasn't as complex as I thought. Again, she rolls out and perfects her ex's wheelchair, and then we get all of her backstory in her first 2 sentences, and we never touched on it again. She gave the full dump. She's like, "Hi, I'm Charles Xavier's twin. I tried to kill him in the womb. This and this and this. Anyways, all right, let's continue with the rest of the movie." It's like, oh, okay. But no, I thought she was cool. I thought it was cool how they used the Juggernaut helmet to kind of beat her, because in the comics, Juggernaut is Charles' either brother or half brother, and he uses that helmet to protect him from Charles' mind powers. So I thought that was a cool touch. But my favorite part was straight off the page from X's for Extinction, which I never thought would work in live action. But the fingers through the face and popping out the eye, like that was straight off of that panel where we were like, that was a gross panel. Weirdly enough, I think it worked better in live action. I think it looked better in the live action than it did on page, and I would have never guessed that. But that looked great. It was horrifying. No, I think they could have done a lot more with her, but I think there were really cool aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't understand why she helped them go back to the universe to, make so they can complete the mission. And then she just shows up and goes, "Actually, you know what? I'm gonna kill everyone." I was like, "Oh, you just let them go." Maybe
the
that was
Charles speech worked, which doesn't make sense because she hated him.
Yeah.
But they're like, what would your brother that you tried to murder multiple times say that stuck you here? Like, oh, all right, you know what? You're right. Charles wouldn't like this. That was a little weird.
And I wasn't really upset she died in the end because they didn't give me enough to be like, yeah, I could see her moving on in the future. It was like, okay, she was good for this movie. See you later.
She did die. I kind of forgot exactly how that wrapped up.
She got freaking atomized, right? She was all torn up after that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot the Sentinel. They escaped from her using that Sentinel boot, which Greg just said in the chat. That's the thing they hopped on, and it took them out of there.
That was a Sentinel?
The Sentinel foot, yeah.
It looks smaller.
That was convenient. Yeah, it was a foot, right?
Maybe a little smaller. Yeah, it was a foot. Yeah. But shout out Clan Brandalorian, by the way. Our guy, Brando out there. He's in the chat, too. Welcome in, brother.
Let's go. One other thing, I really liked Wolverine, his speech he gave to Cassandra. He was telling her that if Charles knew you were here, he would tear the universe apart to come get you out. I think that hit home for her, I guess, because she wanted to let him go. But that was a cool moment, very true about her brother who tried to kill her, I guess. But then he'd tear apart the universe to get her out. But don't share that womb with me. Yeah,
get out of my womb.
So. Okay, what else we got? Cassandra, Deadpool.
Did we talk Deadpool?
Yeah.
Oh,
what do you guys
I got
think?
a couple things. Yeah. Lub, you can lead off.
Yeah, overall, how'd Deadpool work for you?
So he was trying to find a new purpose in life. Like he wanted to be an Avenger at first. I didn't quite understand that, and he did pull a Han Solo and lost his girl off screen. Just classic.
I hated that.
Right,
They built that whole thing up with them over the last 2 movies just to do that.
It was odd. And the whole used car salesman, it was pretty funny, but it was like, damn, Deadpool, you really dropped off.
But they did give us the one scene that kind of showed them breaking up because they were together. He was a car salesman, and they were sitting at the table, and they pretty much broke up. Because, but with the love they had in the first couple movies, it seemed pretty abrupt for them to break up, right? But they're just still friends. Like, when does that happen? You're just still hanging out. Peter, did he save the X-Force in that time traveling shit?
Deadpool went back and saved the X-Force, so I kind of thought we might see more. Well, we saw Shatterstar for some reason. He was there at the party, the alien who does everything cool with the red ponytail there. But dude, Peter, I freaking love Peter in Deadpool too, and I love the fact that he shows up at the end and all that's what stops all the Deadpools. Oh, Peter! Like they all surround
Everyone
him,
has a Peter.
dude. And I was talking to Greg here in the chat, and we were talking about it, and he was like, "Wait, was Peter wearing?" Was that a Deadpool version of Peter, or did he just put on Deadpool's costume that was shown in the car salesman locker, which I think he just did and showed up, which in the void though? I don't know. I don't know how he got there or what, but I thought the Peter thing was hella funny.
Universe because all the Deadpools came to that universe.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I need to rewatch it, man. A lot of stuff happened. That's right.
I mean, I think Peter's wife is a happy woman. I'll say that. They zoomed in on it.
I noticed that, and that was
He's packing heat.
dude. Peter's awesome. Peter's freaking awesome. I better see him in the MCU again.
But Deadpool, I still think he did a good job of holding it down, and him and Wolverine shared the spotlight well. Like, not, one didn't really outshine the other. It was very 50-50.
True.
Oh, what was I? Oh, yeah. Another thing about Deadpool, which I was worried about with Disney too, was the outfit. I loved his outfit in the first two movies, and although this movie was a more bright red, I kind of like the dulled down, more realistic looking red. I gotta say, that suit up sequence, which was hilarious, it felt like it was a nod to Batman and Robin with the ass slapping and stuff. But it looked incredible.
Like 3 times.
I know, they just kept zooming in and smacking it.
So funny,
dude. But the suit looked clean.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
Well, in the
you're
adamantium
pretty sure your tailor's a
katanas.
predator.
Yeah. I forgot it was the tailor who kept slapping him. Like, dude, the adamantium swords though, that was a sick touch. They did a great job at hooking him up with a new suit.
Totally.
You appear to have sold yourself while unconscious. I wasn't
I
unconscious.
was unconscious. It feels like Pinocchio stuck his face in my ass and then started lying. So funny.
Bro, there's a lot of gold lines like that in this movie.
Yeah. Deadpool is definitely the funniest for me in this movie for sure. And I liked the emotional side of things, trying to get his people back. There was times when he was very emotional. I'd say my favorite Deadpool is still in Deadpool 1 though. Like just the character itself, how he was played. The action, I think, just seeing him slice up all the goons in Deadpool 1 was sick. But he was funniest for me because of all the Marvel jokes he can make. Everything against the MCU, Kevin Feige, and he's like, everything. Like the multiverse, it was just a miss. We got to move on from this. Give a speech about it. Everything he said was so funny. Yeah, so...
well, no, I was just, welcome into the MCU. You're coming in at a bit of a low point.
Yeah.
There is so many solid lines that, like we were saying in the non-spoiler thing, I didn't want to say all of it, and now I don't remember the lines specifically, but they're calling out like specific Marvel movies being bad, like straight up full-on movie. I forgot all the direct references, but they did it all the way to the end of the movie. They were picking on the MCU, so it was enjoyable for sure.
It shows a lot of self-awareness and confidence in the MCU or Feige or whoever let that happen. Like, if you're gonna hide from that doesn't show confidence, So allowing them to take shots like that was like a breath of fresh air. Everyone knows what's going on with Marvel right now, so. All right, we could touch on the movie more and more, if anything comes up. But let's talk theories. Like, where do you think this goes, Dave? What do you think is gonna happen moving forward?
We do have a question in the chat. I think this is more for JD.
What's that?
Clan Brandalorian says, not the biggest Marvel guy, but my homie got me a Rescue Funko Pop. So she's my favorite Marvel character forever now. Tell me about her real quick.
Rescue is Pepper Potts, right? In the Iron Man suit?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that how it is in the comics too?
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't look like the Infinity War one. It's purple, but she looks red.
So Tony
that was in a
Stark's
really...
wife.
Yeah, Tony Stark's wife is Rescue, builds her a suit. It's primarily for search and rescue. I don't think it has missiles or lasers on it.
Checks out.
Yeah, I was introduced in this. It was the Matt Fraction run of Iron Man. Super solid. they're not even married at that point in the comics, but he still builds her a suit. But yeah,
That's how he got her. That's how he got her. The suit did have lasers in Endgame, though. She was spinning around, jacking some people up with Tony in that fight.
True.
Straight up.
Right, and then as far as the movies, yeah, we saw it in Endgame, not Infinity War, right? The first time we saw it was Endgame.
Just Endgame, yeah.
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 So yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Sidebar.
What? Oh, I was just good. The line in the chat from Greg. Come again? This time in my ears. There it's
so funny. So yeah, theories. Anything for you, Dave?
Yeah. Well, I kind of brought up a couple of them with Wanda the Anchor being and how the hell is Deadpool going to join the MCU? I don't even have a theory for there. That was mainly a question. Let's go with this. Is there any chance that Henry Cavill is going to be Wolverine moving forward? Because there was word moving into this that in this movie, one of the cameos, one of the variants of Wolverine would be the one moving forward in the MCU. So percentage-wise, what do you guys think the odds are that he actually joins the MCU as Wolverine?
5.
After this, I would give it like a solid 18%, but that's a huge chunk. That's like that's very likely. I mean, very likely. But I mean, if you want Wolverine, he's like the biggest X-Men character, right? The most recognizable, the most popular, and you're probably going to want some star power behind that.
No.
I'm not saying he'd be my favorite, but Henry Cavill would be one. And after seeing him in this movie, it freaking works. So that'd be one hell of a cast for Wolverine.
No, the Wolverine casting is set in stone, man. It's Lip. It's Yes Chef. It's Jeremy Allen White. Like, come on, he literally has the short buff. Like,
that's all he's got, though. For me, I don't know. I guess I haven't seen Iron Claw, but I doubt that has a lot of scenes of him showing rage to the degree of Wolverine. Maybe it does. I get the stature behind him as Wolverine. I just don't see that one. Not that I see Henry Cavill more. I'm probably right with you, JD. I'm probably below 20%, maybe 10 to 20% odds. I would like to see a kind of newer face show up as him, though.
I like the Edgerton rumor. So it showed he was getting jacked. He might have said something about playing Wolverine. He'd be okay.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a hard one to cast. Because Hugh Jackman wasn't comic accurate and he worked great. So I don't think you necessarily have to go with the short deal. But yeah, we'll see.
And apparently you could do Hollywood for that because they made him like freaking 5 foot in that one scene.
Dude.
So cast whoever you want.
oh, look how cute you are.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. I don't have any theories because it didn't do anything to the MCU.
You're right.
So I have no idea. I mean, the TVA is going to bring him back. The TVA is going to say, hey, we need your help again.
Or
Here he
what
comes
are the
for Secret
odds
Wars.
of Deadpool and Secret Wars? You think he's in Secret Wars?
I'm like at an 80% with Deadpool and Secret Wars.
Hugh Jackman?
Yeah. I think we could see him both. I think Hugh Jackman's going to show up.
I still do also, unless they do cast, even if they cast Wolverine. I think the idea of Secret Wars, we're going to have the cameos we saw here, like times 5, like all these crazy movies, Ghost Rider. So even if you do have a Wolverine cast, I'd still put it like a 70% for Hugh Jackman in Secret Wars. Because Feige also said one of his dreams is to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine together. So I'm betting they're going to be in there.
Same, Kevin. Same. Yeah, Greg did bring it. I forgot Cavill's doing the Warhammer deal, which is like his passion project. So he's probably going to be pretty busy still over the next couple of years moving forward. But
is that a series?
I can do both.
Yeah, Amazon.
Yes. And it's a very in-depth series, and he's
like Game of
fully
Thrones,
into it.
but
Like
futuristic
it's a lot
or
of lore.
something. Yeah.
Warhammer lore is insane from what I've seen. Very detailed. So
I also don't expect a new Wolverine casting actually seen on screen until after Secret Wars. Years.
Yeah, it's true. We'll see. I want to see Hugh one more time, though. I want to see him one more. I know that's greedy. Like, this is a perfect sign-off, but I would like to see him show up in Secret Wars.
And again, Cavill's kind of, he's not old, but if you're bringing Wolverine and you're starting the mutants in Marvel, you're probably going to want someone young because he ain't signing nothing less than a 10-year contract, right? If you're bringing Wolverine.
Yeah, you'd think. I mean,
But Cavill's
they're
not that
starting
old
this-
though. It could still work out.
No, he's got plenty of time. But yeah, we're going into the mutant saga here, so I would imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of that. But he's only 41. He's got some time. How old is Hugh right now?
50.
55, and he's still killing it. So yeah, he'll be all right.
I'm really confident Avengers 7 is Avengers vs. X-Men. I think they're going to go full into the
It makes perfect
X-Men
sense.
and mutants after Secret Wars, because that is like, you're going to have big pops. It'll almost feel like we're watching the first phase of MCU again. If you start bringing in mutants, dude, it's going to be so exciting to see them interacting to these characters, and then X-Men versus Avengers.
And then Avengers 10 is Avengers versus Justice League.
Right.
That's the whole long game with James Gunn.
James Gunn
he
and
sent him
Feige.
over there as an inside agent.
He's a mole. God, that's gonna be nuts. I think that'll happen in our lifetime. Justice League versus Avengers.
I think it will too. Once
They're gonna be out of ideas. Yeah.
They're like, fuck it.
Justice League and Avengers. Is that what you said?
In our lifetime.
Yeah.
With Feige.
I mean,
and James
from
Gunn.
from everything we've gotten, I don't see why that'd be out of the question. We've gotten so many
Right.
crazy things. Like we got Transformers and GI Joes combining pretty soon here. All right, we've seen crazier things happen. Let's do it.
So, how'd the climax of the movie work for you guys?
It's kind of a blur because of we got a lot of it felt like we had big moments throughout. Like the first act had a big fight scene, the second act had a big fight scene, and then the third act, I guess, was Cassandra taking over and doing all that stuff. But I'm not 100% positive on the order of that
And the
stuff.
Deadpool fight. Deadpool.
Yeah,
versus
that's
all
what I was
the
gonna
other
say.
Wasn't
guys.
that in the middle?
No, that was
That
right
felt like-
before.
That was it. Right when Cassandra shows up.
Right, and
See, that felt like the middle
then
of
they
the
go
movie to
down
me.
and stop the machine.
Right.
Okay.
I was a little bummed that was our big climactic fight. Just a bunch of
Yeah.
Deadpools. That it was more of a gag. You know, I wanted to see them tear apart some villains. You know, bring back more villains. Have some villain cameos that really pop. To have them get their heads popped off. You know, something. But
that would have been cool.
that was an underwhelming climax for sure.
Like Fox
Yeah.
Universe villains. Cassandra brings
Yeah.
Yes.
those, like ones we haven't seen yet, bigger ones.
Peter Dinklage. Just Trask.
Yeah,
That'd be
no.
hilarious. That would have been a great joke.
Dude, have him show up and then all of a sudden, I don't know, but I agree. The Deadpool thing, it did feel kind of cheap having that climax be just people who don't die. You know, it was just kind of, it would have been more satisfying to see people actually getting torn up who don't stand right back up. But
There was that kind of cool zombie scene where they think everyone's dead and everyone's like bones start reattaching and they stand back up and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
because, oh, you all have healing
And then
abilities, huh? Icepool's the only one who doesn't.
How about Dogpool, real quick? What did we think of Dogpool?
I can't believe that's a real dog. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, it won a competition
Ugliest
like for
dog.
the most ugly dog in Europe somewhere, I think.
They have those every
That
year,
is
bro. I
hilarious.
remember seeing that on like Ripley's Believe It or Not, I think back in the day, renting it from the library in like 4th grade and seeing these world's ugliest dog competitions. Like,
When it starts licking Deadpool's face too, it's just going ham.
licks
It's
it
like
back.
this dog is a paid actor. But
he licked it back, bro.
Yeah, dude. I don't think that was
That wasn't
practical either.
CGI. It was funny. I thought it was a fun little bit. I look at it almost in comparison to Thor: Love and Thunder, with the jokes between Thor and his hammer and the romance between them, in comparison to Deadpool and his little romance with the dog. And I enjoyed Dogpool a lot more than I enjoyed the Thor jokes with the hammer. So that's, I don't know if that's the right way to look at it, but that's how I looked at it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, all right. I mean, any more thoughts?
I think I covered all my questions there. We'll scroll through the old bing bong boom there.
You think there's a possibility of a Deadpool 4 after the dude? Let's talk about the money this made. Dude, it cracked
Oh my
500,
God.
$500 million already It is already at $500 million. That's nuts. Definitely going to the $1 billion club. Definitely going to be the highest grossing rated R. Definitely going to convince Marvel to not shy away from rated R. I mean, obviously. That's huge.
Dude,
what a win.
I'm glad I drafted it. Like, I'm super stoked I drafted this movie. And it's gonna be
Inside Out
really
cashed
solid
out.
addition to Dude, that's nuts, though. $545 million after one weekend. That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. Which okay, so I guess I didn't pay attention to box score as much until we started doing this tracking thing. But I didn't realize Endgame broke $1 billion in its opening weekend. I thought that was a mistake. 1.2 billion opening weekend. That's nuts.
What a cash out overall.
Like 2.3.
Yeah, 2.5.
How many movies have made $2 billion? There's not many.
Not a lot.
Probably that one. Maybe
Not a
Infinity
lot.
War. Maybe Avatar. I don't know.
Force
I
Awakens.
think. Inside Out hit 1.5 million. By the way, I think Avatar 2. No, it didn't. Did it? It did. Avatar: The Way of Water 2.3 billion.
Endgame's number 2. Remember, because James Cameron dropped Avatar again, so it would pass Endgame.
Is that Avatar 1 though?
Avatar 1. Avatar 2 is third place.
2.3. Yeah.
And then
Oh my
Titanic.
God! Avatar 1 2.9.
Titanic
Endgame 2.7.
Nick is in the $2 billion club.
And it's
That's
1997. That's
Yeah.
and just for
What?
inflation, like
Everything else is super franchise related.
Force
Holy
Awakens.
shit! Avatar almost hit $3 billion. Damn.
it's because he cheated and he kept bringing it back into theaters.
Yeah.
But hey,
It's good. It ain't that good. Come on. I didn't even watch The Way of Water.
oh,
Zoe Saldana, yeah, she's in a ton of those, as Greg pointed out. She's been in like biggest cash out movies that there's ever been in Infinity War, Endgame, both Avatars. Like,
dude,
That's
12
crazy.
all time. Inside Out 2.
I never doubted you from the jump. I knew you were going to do better than the first one. I had full confidence. It doesn't matter though. After what you got here, dude. It almost doubled up the first one. That's wild. But I think you're pretty much going to be set here, unless Venom pops in for $1 billion. And who do I have? Oh, War of the Rohirrim. It's not even going to break 200,000. But yeah,
200,000.
Venom's not going to do it. Right.
Venom's going to be tough.
Did Venom 1 make a
tough.
bill?
No, it was like
800 or
700,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
800.
rough. After the second one, which
850.
wasn't great. All right.
And
Well,
that's
if
your
that does
box
it.
office talk.
Thank you for joining us on our coverage of Deadpool and Wolverine. What else do we have coming out? We're gonna do the House of the Dragon finale, but what's after that? Rings of Power is coming out soon.
Penguin.
Penguins. Ooh,
They're gonna
I
be both
can.
at
Yeah.
the same time.
Okay, so we have
Really?
another.
They're gonna overlap. Yeah, a little bit.
Shit. I mean, yay. We got our Rings of Power episode coming out, which we kind of discussed season 1's gripes and positives and our expectations for season 2 and some theories regarding Anatar and Sauron and Celebrimbor and the Siege of Eregion. So be sure to check that out. We'll about a week or so before the show comes out. So we got that coming.
Well, the show comes out in a month.
Yeah. August 29th.
Talking about the episode we're dropping with Andy. We did that with the Galactic Core podcast.
Well, we did it there. He wasn't actually on the podcast, but
Gotcha.
we did it. We did it for him.
Dave pretends
Our
to
boy
be-
had a child. I have a child.
Yep. Congrats, Andy.
Congratulations.
Starting
sir.
a journey. Starting quite
Hell
the
yeah.
journey. Check out, in our podcast descriptions, wherever you're podcasting, we have a support link. Give us all your money so we could keep evolving and making better content. And we got shirts out. So we're going to find a way to get that link to you sometime. But yeah, we got some shirts. We got a support link. So, that kind of support is going to really help us keep doing this and do it more, do it better. Get new tech. I just got a new laptop. That hurt the credit card, but,
Hey, and
stuff like that.
Like this video on YouTube if you're watching right now. Give it a like. Push that thumbs up button.
Yeah, a little review.
Put
Throw
your
a
little thumb up
review
there.
out there.
5 star.
By the way, the shop link
comment.
works on Instagram. So if you're on
Oh, hell
TikTok
yeah.
and you want to
And
hop
X.
over onto Instagram, it works there. Oh, and X. There you go.
The pin tweet on X.
Hell yeah. Check out Why So Sidious Pod on Instagram or X for the shirts. We got mugs, stickers. I'm about to put a car decal on there. We got hoodies, long sleeve, tank top, crew neck, all the good stuff. Old logo and new logo. So you got your black or your white. The old logo gets a lot of compliments downtown San Diego. People love it.
Hell yeah.
So you're going to want to wear that.
Yeah. And soon we'll drop a. You can pay $50 and JD will read you a comic book in person.
Which
And if
Caleb's
it's-
used because he can't read.
For $80, I'll do my top 5 comic post shirtless. It'll be great.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. 90, I'll do it in my underwear.
Only pods coming soon.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.